Morning Herald reports that about 90 billion more than first thought was pumped into the economy during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to independent analysis. And guess what? It's leading to a surge in inflation, and it's forcing the Reserve Bank to lift rates, as we have seen. We had 11 consecutive rate rises
Something
before
like that.
we've had a bit of a pause. Again, how can the figures be so out? How can they just forget about $90 billion?
Well, and you got to remember what a bipartisan schmozzle this was when they were just pouring that money around. And you remember the day that Josh Frydenberg came out when he was treasurer and said, hey, guess what? Good news. We found out we actually, we saved $30 billion here. And the Labor Party was like, how could you not spend that extra $30 billion? Spend another $60 billion. And of course, we're sitting here on this desk going, hey, guys, if you keep, pouring all this money into the economy, you're going to have to pay for it at some point. Yeah. Well, of course, here we are. Everybody who's got a mortgage, everybody's paying an interest. Anybody who's in anything interest rate sensitive, and by the way, that includes an awful lot of renters, is absolutely getting hosed because of this money that was poured into the economy. And, this is one of these things where the left believes in this sort of fairy tale economics where, they say, you just have to let the market do things and we'll have a market-based solution. But then, when you actually talk about what that market means, i.e. if you pump more money in that, each individual dollar becomes worth less, and therefore you need more of them, and it's inflation. Well, they say, no, that doesn't exist. And now they want to keep doing that. This government has continued to pour fuel on that fire. I don't think there's been any real serious spending cuts either. So we are in a situation that we're going to continue to see this sort of inflation. Sticky, it'll come down a bit, but it's never going to go away. And that's a real tax. It's a regressive tax against people who have the least money because, everybody has to buy food. And the people whose income, a greater percentage of it goes to food, they're the ones who are going to hurt the most.
Well, this is not allowing the market to deal with it because you're manipulating the market as they did throughout COVID. And this is economics 101. You learned this pretty early on that if you pump this money into the economy, there's all sorts of consequences that follow. How can we have so many people in positions of power in this country, and not just this country, around the world, around the Western world, kind of miss that lesson?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? You print money, pay people to stay at home and do nothing, and inflation rises. The thing I get angry about with this is that the former Reserve Bank Governor, Philip Lowy, was demonised because he kept putting rates up. But we had bipartisan support with the Libs and the ALP for injecting money into the economy, an extra $90 billion, and he was made out to be the bad guy. He wasn't the cause of inflation. He was trying to deal with bad economic management from the political party.
And by the way, James, can I just talk about another one of these problems here? I mean, there's so many things that are hangovers from the pandemic. Education, the economy. Yes. One of the things that's also killing the place is, I think, and I'll get, people be angry at me for saying this, but frankly, this whole thing where, we decided, we can all just sit around at home and Zoom into work, in our tracky dacks is absolutely going to kill our CBDs. Rita, I was in Melbourne last week. And on Friday, I went around for a little wander around the CBD. I wasn't sure whether or not Melbourne now has a sister city relationship with San Francisco. We know they had one with Wuhan during the pandemic, but now, the dysfunction, the emptiness, nobody's going into work anymore. It's just, all of our CBDs, the vibrant areas that drive our country are just being killed off by these ridiculous work from home. I won't work Monday or Friday. I'll just come and do some stuff in, Tuesday or Wednesday. This is ridiculous. It's not a way to build an economy. It's not a way to have a civilized society, frankly.
And then those who want to do that, the long-term consequences, we keep talking about consequences on this program, is if you can do your work from home, guess what? There's probably someone who can do it in another country for about a fifth of the cost.
And also,
just be careful what you wish for.
For all the young people out there who are watching, if you want to get ahead in your workplace, go into the office where your bosses are. That's how you get noticed. That's how you learn. The ones who stay on the sofa, they're going to get left on the shelf. Go into work, be an achiever. That's what I say.
Yes.